Hey Vikings Nation, what's up? Strap in, because today's Minnesota Vikings news might shake the offseason harder than a winter wind off Lake Minnetonka. There's a name buzzing around the league right now, and it's one that every Vikings fan knows well. I'm talking about Jordan Addison. Yes, that Jordan Addison. A young, explosive wide receiver who was supposed to be a core part of the future. Now suddenly at the center of trade rumors involving heavyweights from the AFC and NFC. So here's the big question we're diving into today. Are the Minnesota Vikings really open to moving Jordan Addison? And if so, what does that mean for the future of this offense? Stay with me because this story has layers. The rumor mill started heating up when reports surfaced that multiple teams are sniffing around Addison this offseason. Among them, the Buffalo Bills and the San Francisco 49ers, two franchises desperate to add more firepower at wide receiver. Buffalo, in particular, has a very clear need. Josh Allen needs reliable weapons, and after past roster moves, they're still searching for that consistent threat who can stretch the field and win one-on-one. And if you're a Vikings fan, that should immediately raise your eyebrows. Because whenever teams start calling about your young talent, it means the league still believes in that player's upside. Now let's talk about the 49ers because this part is fascinating. San Francisco is reportedly planning to be aggressive this offseason, not just in the draft, but also in the trade market. They want to move up in the draft, and they want a wide receiver who can contribute right away. According to league chatter, Jordan Addison is near the top of their wish list. That alone tells you something important. Even after a rocky season and off-field noise, Addison is still viewed as a difference-maker by Super Bowl-caliber teams. What makes this even more interesting is the history between the Vikings and the Bills. These two teams have done major business before, including the blockbuster Stefon Diggs trade. That history matters. Front offices remember who they've worked with, who negotiates fairly, and who picks up the phone. So when Buffalo shows interest in a Vikings receiver, fans have every right to pay attention. Still, interest doesn't mean a deal is close. It just means the Vikings are listening. And that alone changes the conversation around Jordan Addison's future in Minnesota. Now let's address the internal situation with the Minnesota Vikings. Reports suggest that the team is very interested in keeping Jalen Nailor, who is set to hit free agency in mid-March. The coaching staff likes what Nailor brings: speed, effort, and a role that fits well alongside the rest of the offense. If the Vikings feel confident in retaining Nailor, that could impact how they view Addison's long-term fit. This is where roster chess comes into play. Keeping one receiver sometimes means being more flexible with another, especially when contract timelines and future options are involved. One key detail that can't be ignored is Addison's contract situation. The Vikings are reportedly not planning to pick up his fifth-year option, which naturally opens the door to trade discussions. That doesn't mean they want him gone. It means they're evaluating value, timing, and leverage, which is exactly what smart front offices do. In today's NFL, teams don't wait until value drops to zero. They explore options early, even if they ultimately decide to keep the player. Now let's talk honestly about the 2025 season Addison just had. Statistically, it was not the breakout year many fans expected. He finished with 42 receptions, 610 yards, and 4 touchdowns in 14 games. Those numbers aren't terrible, but they're not what you expect from a receiver drafted to be a major offensive pillar. For a Vikings offense built around pushing the ball downfield, that production naturally raises questions about role, usage, and future development. Then there's the off-field storyline, which has complicated everything. Jordan Addison has been arrested multiple times, though it's important to be accurate here. Most recently, the trespassing charge was dismissed. That matters. It changes how teams around the league evaluate risk and availability. From a front office perspective, cleared charges remove at least one obstacle when it comes to trade value and negotiations. But here's where things get really interesting. According to insiders, the Minnesota Vikings under this current regime do not like trading players at their lowest value. That philosophy has been consistent. They want maximum return, not panic moves driven by short-term narratives. So if Addison were to be traded, it would only happen if the Vikings believe the offer reflects his true upside, not just last season's stat line. Jordan Addison was drafted to be a cornerstone of the offensive identity, a vertical threat, a player who stresses defenses and opens space for everyone else. That vision hasn't disappeared. It's just been delayed, clouded by inconsistency and external noise. And that's why these next few months are absolutely critical. For Addison, for the Vikings, and for how the league perceives his value. From another team's perspective, this might look like a buying opportunity. A talented receiver, still young, who hasn't fully hit his ceiling yet. Teams like Buffalo or San Francisco might see Addison as a calculated gamble worth taking, especially if the price isn't astronomical. And if that happens, the Vikings could walk away with valuable draft capital or roster assets while securing Naylor long-term. But let me ask you this, Vikings fans. Is moving Jordan Addison the right call? Or is this the kind of player you stay patient with and build around? Do you believe his best football is still ahead of him in Minnesota? Or would you trust the front office to flip him for future assets? This is exactly why this story matters. It's not just about one player. It's about direction, philosophy, and timing. The Minnesota Vikings are at a crossroads with several young pieces, and every move this offseason will send a message. Whether Addison stays or goes, the decision will reflect how this regime truly views the offense moving forward. And remember, trade rumors are just that until something actually happens. Interest doesn't guarantee action. The Vikings could easily decide that Addison is still too important to move, especially if the market doesn't meet their expectations. But the fact that teams are calling tells us one thing loud and clear. Jordan Addison still has real value in this league. So keep your eyes open, because this situation could evolve quickly as free agency and the draft approach. If a deal happens, it won't come out of nowhere. The groundwork is already being quietly laid. And if nothing happens, at least now we understand the stakes and the strategy behind the scenes. That's the latest on this developing Minnesota Vikings news. And trust me, this won't be the last time we talk about Jordan Addison this offseason. Now I want to hear from you. Would you trade Addison if the offer is right? Or is he untouchable in your eyes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's debate like real Vikings fans. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more Minnesota Vikings updates. Share this with your friends. And as always, Skol Vikings Nation.